Today I'm going to our small local grocery store to pick up some chicken and some produce items to finish out our week. And when I get back, I will show you what I bought and how I use those items throughout the week. As you could see during the shop, I bought some hummus and I like to eat mine with Fritos. I also bought a head of iceberg lettuce. Our little store does not have the bagged varieties of lettuce. We only have iceberg. I bought some celery, some blueberries and strawberries, which were each $3 a pack. This pack of boneless, skinless chicken breast, which was $4.50 a pound, and it was about 2.5 pounds. So it came to almost $11.50. I picked up an extra spoon and a pizza. I also got some poppy seed dressing to use on our salads. But tonight we're just having the pizza, a simple green salad with some ranch dressing on top. The next night I am making a sheet pan dinner in the oven. I'm slicing up some squash from the garden and adding some frozen broccoli that I had in the freezer. I'm going to slice these chicken breasts in half. Normally I would just cook one breast for us, but I want to have extras for at least one more dinner and one more lunch, so I'm cooking up two. I'm splitting them in half so that they will cook faster and be more tender, not as dried out. I'm just going to season them with some salt and some lemon pepper. I also am going to sprinkle a little bit of salt and some of the lemon pepper over my vegetables. After I add the chicken to the pan, I'm going to mix together some butter and the juice of one whole lemon. And then I'm going to pour that over everything on the pan, the chicken and the vegetables. As you can see, I've lined my pan with parchment paper. I'm going to stick it in the oven at 375, and after 20 minutes, I checked my chicken. It was done perfectly, and this is what we had for supper that night. This lemon pepper chicken and vegetables. That night, before I went to bed, I put some Great Northern beans on to soak. I rinsed them, drained them, and put them in a bowl of water on my counter just to soak overnight. The next morning, I cut up some carrots, onion, and celery to add to my soup. I had a piece of ham steak in the fridge. I'm going to use half of it, dice it up, and put it in my soup also. I'm going to season the soup with some dried thyme, dried parsley, and onion powder, along with some garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. I'll use some broth to cook my beans in, and I'm going to make some cornbread muffins to go along with it. First, I'm going to saute my vegetables in a little bit of olive oil until they are soft. I'm adding a little salt and pepper to my vegetables as they cook. When the vegetables get a little tender, I'm going to add my ham and about 1 cup of chicken broth. If I had more, I would add more, but that was all that was left in that container. And I'm going to stir in my beans and add enough water to cover them and about 1 inch or so above them. I'm going to add my seasonings, stir it all together, and bring it up to a boil. Once it comes to a full rolling boil like this, I'm going to cut the heat back just a little bit to 8 on my stove. I'm going to cover it and just let it cook away on its own for about 4 hours. After 4 hours, this is what it looks like. I'm going to remove the lid, turn it down on low, and just let it simmer to thicken up a little bit as I make the corn muffins. I'm using a Jiffy Mix, following package directions, but I am going to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. As everything is mixed together, I'm just going to scoop it into my muffin tin and cook it according to package directions. Meanwhile, I'm going to taste my beans and see if they need any additional seasoning, and I decided that they did need more onion powder and more salt. And when the muffins are done, everything is done and ready to eat. So we had beans and cornbread this evening. Now I'm going to freak everybody out a little bit and show you that I like ketchup on my beans. On Thursday night, I used the lettuce that I bought and the berries and the leftover lemon chicken and made us some salads, which were super delicious. These strawberries were really sweet. I added a little cracked black pepper to my husband's and then topped them both with the poppy seed dressing. Over the weekend, I took the remaining strawberries and blueberries and made us a sort of cobbler dessert. The recipe I used was from an old church cookbook, and it was called a quick pie, but it really came out more like a cobbler. What I'm doing is adding about 1/4 cup sugar to my berries because they were already pretty sweet, and I'm going to cook them down on low just to make a syrup and to soften the berries. I also added a little cinnamon, and I'm just going to let them cook while I melt some butter in the bottom of my baking dish. My baking dish is about 11 by 7, I believe. It's not as big as a 13 by 9. Now I'm making the crust, mixing sugar, flour, baking powder, and milk according to the directions in the recipe. And I'm going to stir those up with a whisk to get all the lumps out. Then I'm going to pour the batter on top of this melted butter. And all of the butter rushed to the corners. So I'm going to stir it up just a little bit to get some butter into the middle of the dish. Then I'm going to pour my cooked berries on top of the batter and push them out a little bit towards the corner and bake it according to the recipe. The recipe will be shown at the end of this video. It came out beautifully. It was not overly sweet, and we enjoyed it all weekend long with just a little whipped cream on top. Thank you so much for watching.